Welcome to another Minecraft video. Today I want to talk about something that I recently saw on the Hermitcraft server, and it's Good Times with Scars display pillar. So he built this thing that I tried to recreate behind me, a pillar with a 3x3 cross section made of concrete powder in different colors, and yeah, it's something that people have been wondering if it could even work at all because it's a bit weird. From a design perspective, it makes absolutely a lot of sense to be this way around, starting with the lighter colors on top and getting the more intense ones, which really suggests that time is running out and you gotta hurry up with what you need to do, having that further down below. So you would be taking stuff off the top, making it through the whites, eventually getting to the yellows and the oranges until you come down to red, and eventually there will be only black powder left. So from a design perspective, this makes perfect sense. However, and I'm gonna quickly recreate the entire thing here, thanks to my command blocks that I prepared. When it comes to actually making this work using redstone, it's a different story. At this point, the entire thing would be way better off being completely upside down, starting on the top with black, red, orange, and then the yellow, and then the white at the bottom, because the obvious solution to make this work would be having a floor that you can retract for a moment. So the floor would open up, one layer would be starting to fall down, you close the floor up again, only that layer makes it through, and everything else is just gonna come down by a block, and therefore the bottom would be disappearing first. So the question that I asked myself is, can this thing work at all the way that it is? And the answer to that is no. Of course it can't. Thanks for watching. Nah, just kidding. I wouldn't be making this video if I couldn't make it work, and I wouldn't have such a weird and complex contraption down below if there wasn't anything to it. But before we show this thing, and I'll tell you guys right now, this entire part right here is only there for one specific special function. In order to make the thing work at all, you could also just replace that entire thing with what we have over here. Does essentially the same apart from one thing that I'll show you towards the end of the video, but I think to really get an idea on how the thing works on principle, I'll just be using this for now. So starting out with the pistons extended, the concrete powder on top, and yeah, it goes a bit higher there, but for just demonstration, keep an eye on what's happening if I pull the lever and therefore retract the pistons. The concrete powder is going to fall down, and if I activate the lever again, the pistons are going to extend again. But the important thing here is that it doesn't all happen at the same time. First up, we have the bottom block right here, and once I retract the piston, it's going to see that there's nothing below it, and it should become an entity that can fall down. And at that point, once it starts falling down, the block above it is also going to see that it's not standing on anything anymore, and therefore should fall down, turns into an entity, and so on and so forth. I don't know how many blocks really start falling down before the first one lands, but that's the entire thing. It's a timing question over here. And especially what's important is that if you disrupt this timing by not waiting until all the blocks have fallen down, but instead once some of them start falling, just like this, and you extend the pistons again, you can break blocks. What's happening here is that the block starts falling down, it wants to get into the lower block, but at that point, once I extend the piston again, the blocks that are already down below are going to fill up with space, and the now falling block has no place to go into anymore. So at that point, it doesn't know where to go. It turns from just a falling entity into a into an item that we can pick up. So basically the block is broken, just flies out of the entire machine, and that's basically it. The good thing is that this allows me to take blocks up from not the entire top over here because of piston push limit, but at least I can target the 13th block on this pillar, measuring from all the way down there. And yeah, I made sure to design my pillar so that the 13th block is the first one that's white right here. So everything down below is 12 and lower, meaning that I can affect them with my pistons, and everything above is just too high. I couldn't extend the pistons anymore if all of them were landing over here. But yeah, at this point I basically, in order to remove some stuff from not the very top, but at least somewhere up here, all I need to do is send through a signal that deactivates the piston for the right amount of time. If I want to remove something that's lower than 12 blocks, I need a shorter timing, and this is where the real problem started, because I couldn't find an adjustable timer that was this flexible in order to work out well with what I have in mind here. So in the end, hopper timers were way too slow, and runout timers with comparators I also couldn't make work because they were either too fast or too slow. So what I ended up doing was just recreating the same pillar that I used for the display, but over here, and I call this the timing pillar. All that's going to happen now is once I press the button, it's going to send a signal down here to the torch, deactivating the piston for a moment. And as long as that's deactivated, it's going to be longer than it needs in order to let all the blocks fall down here. It's going to constantly get updates through the observers, putting everything into this signal line in the back here, moving up to this point, deactivating this torch, which is going to control the entire thing here in the end. So basically, in order to do what I need to on the main pillar, I have a timing pillar that's just going to give me the right timing for any case that I want here. Everything to the right of it is basically me recreating the display pillar over here, just so that I can see which block I'm actually targeting. And it's always gonna remove the block one above the highest that this pillar is. So in this case, the pillar is 12 blocks high, and that means that the 13th block, in this case the white one, is going to be removed, and let's finally take a look at it. Oh, I think I did something wrong here. Should have deactivated that lever there. Okay, once again, that was actually now the special function working. But yeah, only white blocks come down here, and I think, and this might already give you guys a hint at the special function, one of the corners was broken out. So let's do this again and see that it's actually going to be removing this entire layer here. And just like that, one layer of blocks got removed. And I can now do this over and over again until all of the white blocks are gone. At that point, I actually need to adjust the timing. So if I want to automate that, I would need a piston down here which just pulls out a block every time we go below a certain threshold. Everything above the 12 block limit, I would likely need something like a counter. Just synchronizing how many layers are on top here, putting that into the counter, and then every time I activate this, the counter would lower by 1, and once it's empty, it will then start taking blocks off the pillar here. But yeah, all the yellow blocks are gone. And if I use this again, you will see that it's not going to do anything anymore. That was just a leftover because the center is, stuff gets stuck over here. But yeah, I can now just press the button as much as I want. In order to target any lower level, I now need to adjust the timing. And this would take off the top yellow layer right here. I can also, however, go to other layers like the center orange layer and say that I would like to have that removed. So with that being adjusted, just going one below the layer that I want to see gone. If I now press the button again, that's exactly what is going to happen. I can also make this entire thing a bit clearer with the targeting by changing to a pillar design that has no repeating colors apart from the very top. So if I now fill this up again, and I made sure to include another line over here, I think it's down here, and just goes around the entire thing and comes back up to this point. Just to make sure that if I don't have the button pressed, that this entire thing can be readjusted without triggering anything. Otherwise, I would likely lose a few layers right here with what I've done there. But yeah, I can now, and I have this color code over here. As it is right now, I would be removing the lowest white layer. So the one between brown and dark gray right here, as you can see. Pressing this again, of course, now will get rid of the dark gray layer because that just took the place of the white layer. Just like this. And if we go further down the line, we can now also actually just target whatever we want. For example, the pink layer. And it's gone. Can also go for the light blue layer, for example. I'm deliberately making my way down here because if I start at the bottom, everything on top will get out of line. And this is just a bit easier. So what did I say? Light blue. There it is, and there it's gone. Last one, let's get rid of the yellow layer. And just like that. I don't know what other things you could do with this entire thing. Of course, in order to make it a full automatic timer, a few more pieces would need to be added. For example, as I mentioned, just some way to count the amount of layers you have on top of the 12th layer. And then also a piston to take out some of the blocks here. But besides that, overall, it's working pretty well. It's doing exactly what it should, and it also has another special function here. For that, let's get back all the blocks, and I think we should also switch back over to the original pillar. Because when I now pull the lever down here once again, I deactivate all the torches here, and this is actually going to activate the inner circle. The reason why this thing is so big and complicated compared to the simpler, also synchronized version down here, is that this is actually sending a signal to each individual piston instead of just dividing it and putting it to everything at once. That should be a bit clearer here. While both of them target each piston, this one allows me to target them individually, so not triggering everything at once, but one at a time, and then the next time it's going to be the next one in line, and it's just going to go around in a set sequence. So if I now press this button right here, it's going to take out one of these blocks. Apparently it was on this side. And if I press it again, it should be going for the next pillar, just like that. And this is how it's going to continue. I think the next one might be in the center or at the back. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, it was the center one. And now it's just gonna keep going and going around, and yeah, that's how the entire thing is supposed to work. If I do this a few more times, we will see the thing coming back around here. This of course makes the entire thing 9 times slower, which with a long-term timer like this, you may want to use it like that. I mean, it's really just for display. The timer now would need to be, can now be 9 times faster. After all, making a timer this slow, actually that's a bit more work. So I think part of the work taken over by the display right here makes it maybe a bit easier. And yeah, now I could just keep on going, keep on pressing the button, and eventually it's gonna make its way down until I need to start and adjusting the blocks down here in the pillar. To quickly explain what's going on here, let's go over to the prototype. Same exact idea. This just has the additional wiring on top, which makes it look so much more crazy and chaotic. Basically, what's happening here in the center, we have just a line going around with hoppers and droppers, and there's one single item over here in one of them. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Over here. So the dropper right now has a pair of shears in, and what's that doing is giving an output over here, deactivating the torch. This is part of an AND gate, which I sadly didn't build fully up. But basically what's happening here is that you had something like this, and you need both of these torches to be off for this one to turn on. Meaning that right now, with this being off, this is the only thing that would accept a signal coming from my timer over there. And the signal is going to go around the entire outside over here, getting into all of the outside torches. So if I get a signal from here, and I'm just gonna make it a long one by putting the torch down, you'll see all the outside torches turn off, but only because this segment has both of them turned off. This one can turn on, and every single other one, I'm only gonna make it for this one to show it as an example. This one is still turned off because it's missing the item over here. So yeah, that's how it works for one of the segments. Once the entire thing gets going, after one round, it's basically going to try and forward the item into the next dropper. And that happens by there being another signal from my button. Once that is turned off again and the signal extender fades, it's going to set another signal over here, activating all of the droppers and sending the item from this dropper into this one. So just by the item going around here over and over, this is how I get my entire sequence for the different pistons being targeted. And the rest of the system is just going to let the signal through that's coming in from the timer circuit. The important thing about that is that I don't care how much delay that signal gets. The only important thing is that the signal length is always the same. And this one works pretty well with that. So that's why I went with this entire system. I had something similar to this in my ice farms, at least in some of them, where I needed to have a certain sequence of things happening. So I just copied that over and adapted it to have 9 different spaces. But yeah, that's basically the entire idea behind this and how I made the thing work as it does right now. So yeah, in the end, this system can actually work, and I'm pretty happy that I could come up with a way to make it functional. I think that on the Hermitcraft server, at the end of the day, it's likely gonna be some redstone magic that Scar is using, which might just be a shovel of his. But yeah, this was just a fun project trying to see if I could make something work that just looks like it shouldn't really. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts about this entire thing. And hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. And till next time. Bye bye.